guys are so lucky that I am sick today. I suffer from vertigo sometimes, and so I'm having deja vu. What's going on? I feel like I explained this in a video before, and so I just woke up wrong, I guess, at 2 a.m. and the world was just spinning out of control, and so I've been just like, not to get too graphic, but like ill since 2 a.m. Not sponsored. Pocari Sweat. If you ever get any kind of illness that messes up with your hydration, this is Pocari Sweat, which is like a lemon water that has a bunch of like electrolytes in it. It's basically Gatorade. If you're in Korea or Japan, or you're near like Japan or Koreatown, man, Pocari Sweat is like my lifeblood. So anyway, this video is actually sponsored. Let me get this out of the way before I like lose my mind about the book we're going to be talking about. This video is sponsored by the one, the only, Likewise. Likewise is an app where you can find recommendations for movies, TV, I almost said book shows, books, podcasts, like any kind of media that you're interested in. And it kind of combines their own algorithm, but then they also use reviews by real people. And people are really active on there. They make lists. Let me take a sip. I am like dry. People make really good lists. You can ask questions like, I'm looking for a book that will rip my heart out, similar to Heartless, and unfortunately you will find it. So the app is free, but you can download it by going either to your app store or on.likewise.com/cari3. And that just lets them know that I sent you there. People in Korea asking me how I use it. Make sure that your app store is set to the US. I had no problem. It's spreading. It's not available everywhere yet, but make enough noise and hopefully they will. But yeah, I was able to access it through the US App Store. So that's Likewise. They sponsored this video today. They are pushing me through to make me talk about this book because I almost don't want to. When did I read this book? Today is the 3rd of February. I read this book on the 30th of January, so it's been a couple days. I am so upset. This is going to be 100% spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about Heartless, I'm going to give you the tiniest rundown and then you got to get out of here because I'm going to talk about this in detail. I'm going to go through the whole plot. If you don't want spoilers, here is my gift to you. Heartless is written by Marissa Meyer, who is known for her kind of fairy tale retellings. She is known for the Lunar Chronicles, which were a good time. It was a series that took place like in this weird future. But there was like Cinderella is a cyborg and like, who is it? Rapunzel lives in a satellite. Like she takes things and kind of makes them, you know, a little interesting. So I went into this knowing that it was a fairy tale retelling or like a beloved childhood tale retelling, but I didn't know what. This is not a retelling, but it takes place in Wonderland, aka Hearts is what the kingdom is called that Alice goes into. Alice is not there. It is unclear when Alice would ever appear, if she even exists in this retelling. But we have, who do we have? We have the Cheshire Cat, obviously. We have Marianne. We have the cook that uses way too much pepper. It's a lot more tied to the books rather than the Disney. I've only seen the Disney cartoon. I don't know about the live action. And then there's even, they go into the second book, which is Through the Looking Glass. And so we talk about the Jabberwocky, and I don't want to spoil anything. So there's like other characters in here. We start off meeting Catherine. I remember her name. Catherine is the daughter of the Marquess, which is kind of like a lord, I guess. I don't really understand royalty. But she is, you know, of the court. She, I think, is like 17, and all she wants to do is open her own bakery in town. And that's like a huge part of the plot, is like her and Marianne is like her lady in waiting. They just want to be able to raise enough money to buy the shop that just opened in town so that they can open like the best bakery Hearts has ever seen. And she is high enough ranked that she gets invited to like all of the royal parties, all the balls, and she more often than not bakes something. So the king like openly loves her pastries, so she's like, we're gonna get support, I just need to convince my parents, blah blah blah. How else further can I go? Basically, her parents have a very, very, very different idea of what Catherine will be doing with her life. Her mother is evil. I don't want to put like a trigger warning on this because I feel like it's realistic, unfortunately, and so like I don't want to wish that it wasn't in there because I do think seeing mothers portrayed this way is valuable sometimes. But her mom is like really obsessed with Catherine's weight, so there are times where she's talking about like stop eating, she takes Catherine's plate away, calling her like a walrus, stuff like that. So if that's like a little not good for you, it's kind of throughout the book, unfortunately, so that's just a thing to keep in mind. Well, I'll tell you one more thing. The court has gotten a new jester, like the new entertainer, you know, with like the 3 hats going on. She goes to one of these parties and she like kind of sees him perform and she's blown away and it's amazing. And yeah, then things just get messy. So honestly, that's all I can really tell you without spoilers. So if you don't want to know, like when I tell you that this book makes me so angry, not because it was bad, but because the ending was just so, for me, out of the blue and like so, like angry is the only word that I can use to describe it. It ruined my day. So if you like reading books that will like emotionally damage you, it's not that, I mean, it's not that bad, but it's like, have at it. It's a short book, so read it, come back to me. It's definitely younger YA, very quick, very easy to read, a little bit boring, like 3/4 of the way through, until the end just kills ya. Go get it, pause this, come back. I will see you later, okay? All right, now for the people who are staying, who have either read it before, because there are so many of you that read it before and didn't warn me, or you would just like me to explain the pain to you. Here we go. As I said, Catherine goes to this ball and she is dead set on giving the king these beautiful lemon tarts, these beautiful lemon tarts. He is gonna proclaim them. I feel like my my vertigo is like messing with how I can speak, like the words aren't coming out correctly. He would like proclaim her the best baker in all the land, and then her family like couldn't say no, right, to her opening a bakery. Turns out actually what happens is the king, who is, it's only mentioned once, but I think he's like 15 years her senior. So I think she's 17 and he's like 32, if I'm doing the math correctly. He is described as being very like happy-go-lucky and kind of dumb and just like jolly, and all he wants is for people to be happy. So like he doesn't really take care of like anybody who's suffering. He's just like, a party will fix it, let's throw a party. And he has decided, and like her mom kind of knew this before going to the ball, the king has decided to propose to Catherine. And it's like, you can't really say no to the king, especially because her mom is like full speed ahead, wants this. As he's about to ask her, the jester, the Joker, I think is what he's called because he's a card. The Joker like swoops in, and what does she do? She runs into the garden, she faints, he saves her, they have a cute little like whatever, meet cute, they kind of hate each other sort of thing. Cute, whatever, cute. While they're away and she is recovering, the Jabberwock comes in and like attacks the castle. She is like, why don't we just go home? I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to go back in and have the king propose to me and then get like eaten by the Jabberwock. So she just goes home. And so throughout the book, the Joker, whose name is Jest, I will call him Jest now, Jest kind of helps her put off the engagement. He like is in the king's ear being like, she's a lady, you should court her, like you should take her on dates, like isn't that rude, kind of thing, and like writes her love letters. It's like very Cyrano de Bergerac. And in the meantime, of course, Catherine is falling in love with Jest. So the book is kind of like, when I say it's kind of boring, it's just a lot of those scenes of like, the king almost proposes and Jest saves her, and the king almost proposes and Jest saves her. The stuff that gets me are like the yearning scenes. And so there's a scene where Jest is like supervising a date, and the king is asking Catherine, like, so how many kids do you want? And Jest, like, chokes. And it's a lot of that. This secret forbidden love. It wasn't, like, amazing, but I thought that for, like, the younger audience, I mean, it had my heart racing in some of the, like, confession scenes. It was great. He takes her to a tea party where we meet Hadda. We meet the Hare. We meet all these different people. Wardrobe malfunction, hold on. And in the meantime, the Jabberwock is just, like, running rampant, screwing things up. And the king is doing nothing. The king is like, more parties, because we can distract everybody from the Jabberwocky. Like I said, got a little bit boring, but in comes the twist. So, I'm gonna take a break. Sorry. How did I take a 2-hour nap? Okay, I'm running out of sunlight. So the twist is, part of this is me being sleepy and sick, part of this is me being so upset. It is revealed that Jest and Hadda are, like, spies, basically. They come from, like, through the looking glass, and they're from Chess. And so technically Jest is, like, half man, half rook, so he's like a raven. And their mission was to come to Hearts, find the new queen, because they knew the king was going to get married. Find the queen and steal her heart and take it back to Chess. And, like, this is where it gets weird. Like, somehow that's going to stop the war. And, like, chess is a game of chess. Like, the Looking Glass world is based off of chess. So, as a reader, this isn't gonna work. Like, she might be strong enough, her heart might be able to win one war and end it, but then you're just gonna play chess again. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I was already kind of like, It's a new day, it's the next day, I feel so much better. I apologize for even trying to film. That was such a bad idea. For continue, what's it called? In order to make this look a little more seamless, I'm wearing the same outfit. Still got my cari, we're still working through it, but feeling much better. I stopped where I was gonna get real angry. So this actually works out fine. Jest and Hadda are spies for Chess, as I just said. So their mission is to steal the heart of the future queen, and Jest, to be fair, didn't know that Catherine was the one that's gonna be, like, the future queen, but he said that right when he met her, kind of their first conversation, she said something that stood out to him, and he was kind of like, that sounds like queenly behavior. And, like, she continued to show the strength and the whatever that they needed a queen's heart to have. Originally, what he needed to happen was he needed Catherine to marry the king so that he could take her heart. But of course, as he's falling in love with her, he's like, well, shit, I don't want her to marry the king, because then we can't be together. So there's that whole the yearning thing. You see what's happening? And I was actually thinking about this as I took a nap today. I think a reason why a lot of people might not like this book, and a reason why as I was reading it I didn't super love the book, is that the logic is just not there. And I think that that's intentional, because in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and then through the Looking Glass, the logic is all messed up. Like, the things that the characters do doesn't make sense. And so this whole idea of Jest stealing a heart and stopping the war in Chess, like, that logically doesn't make sense. It's very clear that they don't know how their own world works. And so I could see that, like, the second that was kind of put out there, it made me lose a little bit of interest, because I was like, this is stupid. Like, these characters are so out of touch with reality, but at the same time, like, reflecting on what the kind of base material was, it makes sense that these characters are absolutely nonsensical. So like I said, a lot of the book is just this, like, trying to put off the engagement as much as possible, and also trying to figure out this whole Jabberwocky thing, because the Jabberwock is totally removed from Hadda and Jest's mission. They don't know what's going on. I thought that this part of the book was really strange. There is Peter Pumpkin Eater, which I didn't know that was in Alice in Wonderland. I thought that was, like, a totally separate childhood rhyme, but it's like, Peter Pumpkin Eater had a wife but couldn't keep her, something, 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 blah, blah, blah. Basically, Peter is this like mean, nasty old man who has a pumpkin farm, and his wife is like weird. Like, she seems nice, but she also seems like a little nuts. And it turns out she is the Jabberwock. Like, something's wrong with his pumpkins, and it turned his wife into the Jabberwock, which if you've seen an image of the Jabberwock, not cute. There's like that whole vein of the story going on simultaneously with this whole like trying to put off the proposal thing. Anyway, of course there is this moment where Catherine feels really betrayed once she finds out about Jest, but she's already so head over heels in love with him that she's kind of like, you know, screw it, we'll find a way. She can't stay in Hearts because if she stays in Hearts after denying the king's proposal, she's screwed. They can't go to Chess because if Jest goes back to Chess without having succeeded his mission and like also brings the queen's heart back technically, but like still in Catherine's body, he's also screwed. So they're trying to figure out like, what can we do? How can we figure this out? They decide to use a little chess logic. This is the only time that they actually use logic. There is a move in chess. If a pawn reaches a certain point on the chessboard, it can change to a queen. And so if they were to bring Catherine to Chess, she would just be a pawn because she's like this lowly brand new person in the kingdom. And so if she were to be able to get to a certain section of the kingdom of Chess, she would be able to claim her role as queen, finish the battle, and then, as Jest says, just step down. It'll be fun. The war has won. We can just go on our merry way. Which again, doesn't make any sense. Shame on both of them for like thinking that they could solve this easily. But that is the plan that they're gonna go with. So the only way to get into Chess, because it feels like it's very much in a different dimension, it's not like just geographically different, it's like straight up a completely different dimension, I would say. There is this magical well that has 3 creepy sisters that live at the bottom of the well, and they are kind of the gatekeepers, and they can open up this maze, and if you make it through the maze you can get into Chess. And the 3 sisters always ask for a gift. So we've met them before in this story because Catherine got like fatally injured by the Jabberwock, and Jest brought her to this kind of in-between place where there was like this healing serum or whatever that he got from the sisters, and in return he had to give them like something kind of dumb. Like it was like he had to kiss one of the sisters or something, like on her hand. Like it didn't seem like they were gonna ask a lot of them. They didn't seem evil, they just seemed like creepy and sad. So we meet the sisters again when they're like, hey, listen, we really want you to open up the maze. We really want to bring Catherine through. Can you do us a solid? And they're like, yeah, sure. We're going to ask you for a gift, but first we have a prophecy for you, as creepy sisters do. So they give them this prophecy and they say that there is going to be one person that becomes mad, one person that becomes a monarch, one that becomes a martyr, and one that becomes a murderer. And they're freaked out because like none of those are things that they really want. The only one that kind of makes sense is monarch, because that's what Catherine is going to Chess to do. So I forget this is the part where I got kind of bored because I was just like, the logic doesn't make sense. The fact they're doing this whole thing is stupid. I kind of skimmed it, but they're basically running through the maze and they're kind of about to get through, and Catherine hears Marianne scream. And at this point she's pissed at Marianne because Marianne was the one who like kind of told her mother that Catherine and Jest had this thing going on, because when Catherine got injured and Jest took her to this place to get healed, she was gone for a while and they thought that Jest kidnapped her. And so Marianne was like, hey, you know that they've been like kind of having this like thing going on, right? And so when Jest brought her back all healed, the king tried to arrest Jest and it was just a whole mess. So that's kind of like why they decided right now we've got to go to Chess, we've got to leave. I'm sorry that this is out of order. But anyway, even though she's pissed at Marianne, she's like, listen, I think that Marianne is dying. or something, because why would Marianne scream like that? And so she runs out of the maze and goes towards Marianne's voice, which is at Peter Peter's pumpkin farm. Why is she there? I still don't really know. It's so stupid. This all happened so quickly. This is like within, I would say, the last 40 pages. For some reason, Marianne is being held against her will at Peter Peter's place. This is when we find out that his wife is the Jabberwock. There is a fight. There is a scuffle. They're trying to help Marianne escape, and when the Jabberwock comes out, she kills Jest. He is dead. He is out of the picture. There's no way to heal him. Jest is dead. Jest is the martyr because he was trying to protect Catherine. So I'm like, what the, like, why did I just read this? Jest was kind of the only character that like I kind of liked. Catherine was sort of like unlikable a lot of the time. Jest was just sort of this like doofus dude, you know, like he meant well, and the things that he said were really sweet. So I was kind of like, damn, this is the one character I liked. He just got killed. What's gonna happen to my love story? Like, this is the only reason why I was finishing this book, because like I said, it was illogical, pissing me off for like at least a quarter of the book. I forget exactly, like Catherine stays in her room or something, like has her depression time because her like true love just got killed. And so the Jabberwock is the murderer, right? So we've got the martyr, we've got the murderer. Hadda is obviously gonna be the mad one, because like for some reason he has talked about that like madness runs in his family. It's just like all Hatters become mad. It's just like a thing in Wonderland. I don't know. The thing that threw me for a loop, let me pull it up. Out of nowhere, this has not been mentioned at all. There were no hints dropped. There's just this one quote from Hadda where he admits that he was also in love with Jest. Like out of the blue, and she's like, did he know? Did I miss something? Like why was that added? Anyway, in the last like 10 pages, Catherine is like, I lost Jest. I can never get him back, but what I can get back is revenge. And so she does a little deal with the creepy sisters, and she's like, I'll give you my heart if you get me a shot at killing Peter Peter because Peter Peter's wife killed my true love. So she marries the king, accepts his proposal, and at her coronation, the sisters come up, stab her, take her heart. She lives. This is, again, nonsensical. She can live without a heart. And so she becomes the Queen of Hearts that we know from Alice in Wonderland. So that's why she's always like, off with their heads, because she's just like so pissed. She wants to kill everybody. So she kills Peter Peter, and then I assume she just like continues. Alice will come in later. They have these like ridiculous trials like you saw in Wonderland, because the queen doesn't care about justice. She just wants to kill people because she's heartless and has no feelings anymore. And that's the end of the book. So like I said, this book wasn't necessarily great. Like I wasn't super drawn in. I just knew that I liked Marissa Meyer, and so I was willing to give it a chance, and I kind of, you know, it was just like a fluffy read. It was the beginning of the holiday season here. It was the Lunar New Year. So like I didn't want to get too far into a book. And when I got to the ending, I was just so mad because like, what the hell? Like, I'm so used to, at least with like a YA leaning towards romance book, I would assume that there's a happy ending or like a light at the end of the tunnel or something like that. No, like this was just, it literally ended with her calling for people's heads to be taken off because she has no heart anymore. And I just like I didn't see that coming. I was so upset. It ruined my day, and now I like can't look at the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland the same. Because like the thing is with, well, is that a spoiler? So if you guys don't know the story of Wicked by now, shame on you. Like I'm not gonna spoil it, but like with Wicked, it tells the pre-story of the Wicked Witch of the West, but there's like a light at the end of the tunnel sort of thing going on. I don't want to spoil it, but like there's something hidden there that like we as readers didn't know. But with this, it's like cut and dry. No, she's like totally a sociopath. There's no, like, sure, there's a reason why she became a sociopath, but like, what the hell? This like 17-year-old girl gets her boyfriend killed in front of her eyes, and then she just decides to go on a murder spree, and she gives away her heart. And I was just taken aback. I wasn't emotionally ready for it. I was angry. I still am angry. I'm also sick, so like I can't even put into words why I feel the way that I feel. It was just very upsetting. And so if you have read it, let me know your thoughts. If you haven't read it and you just heard the story now, do you feel like reading it? Let me know. Yeah, it was just like a very out of the blue ending, I think, for that genre. We don't see that kind of just like straight up sad ending. So I feel like really the villain of this story is Marissa Meyer. And then like right after, I finished that like in the morning, and then right after that I had to go to like New Year's dinner with my with Kurt's mom. So I was just sitting there, like I had this bubbling underneath, like trying to make small talk, eating, celebrating the new year, and all the time I'm just like like so mad. So let me know your thoughts about Heartless. Sorry that this was kind of a discombobulated video. I'm not in the best mind state. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I'm not all there, but I just want to know your thoughts if you guys have read it. Why didn't you guys warn me about it? Let me know. Just let's talk in the comments. I'm excited to talk to you. Once again, thank you to Likewise for sponsoring this video. You can go to on.likewise.com/cari3 if you want to check out their service, find more books like this. Who knows? They're wonderful, they're helpful, they're lovely. Thank you, Likewise. And yeah, I'm going to go now. I might take another nap. This is my recovery day. So I will see you guys next time. What am I reading now? Oh, I'm reading Outlander because so many people recommended it. I heard that the first one is the only good one, so we'll see. I'm reading that, and is that all? I'm kind of like, because of the holiday and then just now because I'm sick, I didn't read a whole lot, but hopefully we're getting in the swing of things soon, and I will have some good books for you for my February wrap up. So yeah, I will catch you guys. What am I trying to do? Catch you guys later. Thank you for being here with me. Let me know your thoughts. Heartless. Why'd she do that to us? The Lunar Chronicles, by and far, better writing, better story, better world building, better blah, 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 better. So if this is your first Marissa Meyer, don't worry. Definitely check out her Lunar Chronicles. They're great. And everybody said I should read her other books. Let me know if they're gonna be as hard to read as this one. But yeah, okay. See you later. Bye.